At my husband's funeral, a young woman walked up to me and said, "I'm sorry for your loss. But he was my father too." My knees went weak as my daughter whispered, "Mom. Is she lying?" My husband's best friend looked away, ashamed. "I wasn't supposed to tell you," he said. Shaking, I pulled out my husband's old journal and turned to the page he had hidden from me for 20 years. Throwaway account. I've never written anything like this before. I'm still in shock and not sure how to process what just happened, but I need to get it out. This happened 3 weeks ago at my husband's funeral. My husband, Mark, died suddenly of a heart attack. He was 54. It happened on a Tuesday morning. He was getting ready for work, and just like that, he collapsed. Gone. We'd been married for 27 years. We have one daughter, Jessica, who's 22 and just finishing college. We lived in a suburb just outside of Chicago. Quiet life, nothing fancy, just steady. Mark was everything to me. He wasn't perfect, but I thought I knew him better than anyone else. I thought we had an honest, strong marriage. I thought we were close. I really did. His funeral was at St. Michael's, where we got married. There were so many people there, coworkers, old friends, family, neighbors. It was overwhelming. Jessica stood beside me the whole time, holding it together the best she could. People came up to say kind things. He was a good man. He loved you so much. I'm so sorry for your loss. Then it happened. A girl, probably around 20 or 21, walked up to me. She had auburn hair, pale skin, bright blue eyes. She looked familiar, but I didn't recognize her. She gave me this soft, sad smile and said quietly, "I'm sorry for your loss." I just wanted to say goodbye, he was my father too. I didn't respond. I just stood there. My ears were ringing. I remember gripping the edge of the pew, thinking I must have misheard her. Jessica turned to look at her, then looked at me, then whispered, "Mom, is she lying?" I looked back at the girl. Her hands were shaking. Her eyes were watering. She didn't look smug. She didn't look dramatic. She looked like she was genuinely grieving. I couldn't speak. Mark's best friend, David, was standing close. He looked down at the floor when I turned to him. I asked him directly, "Do you know anything about this?" He sighed, long and slow. He couldn't even meet my eyes. Then he said the words that flipped my world upside down, "I wasn't supposed to tell you." That's when my knees gave out. I didn't faint, but I had to sit down. Jessica was staring at David like she didn't even recognize him. People were still around us, talking, grieving, unaware of what had just happened. I felt like I was watching it all from underwater. After the service, I didn't talk to anyone. I went home, straight to Mark's study. I remembered something, the old leather journal he used to write in. He kept it locked in his desk drawer. I had asked him about it once, years ago, and he said it was just work notes and personal stuff. I believed him. I never touched it. But that night, I broke the lock. I sat on the floor with it in my lap and started reading. The early entries were boring. Work stress. Projects. Frustrations. Notes about Jessica when she was little. I almost stopped reading. Then I noticed something. A section of pages, almost 20 years ago, where his handwriting changed. It got tighter. He wrote more carefully. The tone was different. April 17, 2005, I wasn't planning on this. I swear I wasn't. Her name's Rachel. I met her through a project downtown. She's kind. Smart. Young. Too young. But we keep talking. There's something about her. That's when I started shaking. May 8, 2005, she kissed me today. I didn't stop her. I should have. I know I should have. June 5, 2005, we slept together. I hate myself. I love my wife. I love Jessica. What the hell am I doing? Then, August 28, 2005. Rachel is pregnant. She says it's mine. I believe her. I don't know what to do. I can't leave my family. I won't. But I can't walk away from this either. March 2, 2006, her name is Emily. She has my eyes. That was the first time he mentioned the girl's name. Emily. I read through years of him trying to be part of her life, quietly. Secretly. Birthday visits. Cash gifts. Sneaking around. He said things like, "Rachel understands. She agreed not to contact me unless it's urgent. And I'm doing the best I can. I didn't ask for this." Jessica came into the room at some point while I was still reading. She sat next to me and asked, "Is it true?" I handed her the journal. I couldn't even look at her. She read in silence for over an hour. No tears, just blank shock. Eventually, she whispered, "I have a sister." I didn't sleep that night. I didn't eat. I just sat there thinking about every moment in our marriage that now felt like a lie. He had another child. He carried this for almost 2 decades. And somehow, he still came home every day, kissed me goodnight, helped Jessica with her homework, acted like he was just a normal husband and dad. I didn't know what to do. I couldn't even cry yet. I was too numb. David texted me the next day asking if I was okay. I ignored it. Then I got a message from a number I didn't recognize. It was Emily. She wrote, "I'm really sorry. I never wanted to hurt anyone. I just wanted to know him. I'm sorry if showing every time I opened it, my fingers froze." I wanted to scream. I wanted to ask her how she could just walk into my husband's funeral and drop a bomb like that. But the truth was, she didn't owe me anything. Mark did. And he was dead. Jessica tried to act like she was okay. But I could hear her crying in the bathroom every night. She didn't talk about it much, except for one night when she came into my room and asked, "Do you think he loved us less?" I didn't know what to say. Because honestly, I was asking myself the same thing. I finally replied to Emily. "I need time. This is hard for me. For Jessica. I don't blame you. But please give us some space." She responded almost immediately. "Of course. I understand. I'm sorry. I thought that would be it for a while. I thought she'd back off and we could start processing everything slowly. I was wrong." The next week, I got a letter in the mail. No return address. I almost threw it away, but curiosity got the better of me. Inside was a photograph, an old one, dated 2008. It was Mark. And Rachel. And a toddler, maybe 2 years old. They were in Navy Pier, standing by the Ferris wheel. He was holding the girl on his shoulders. He looked happy. I stared at it for a long time. Then I flipped it over. On the back, in neat handwriting, "You should know this wasn't just a mistake. He loved us too." I started shaking. My hands were sweating. This wasn't from Emily. It didn't sound like her. It was Rachel. She had sent the photo. I didn't even know she knew where we lived. I hadn't seen her before. Didn't know what she looked like. But now I was starting to feel like I'd been the outsider. Jessica saw the envelope on the kitchen table when she got home and asked about it. I lied. I said it was junk mail. But I tucked the photo away in Mark's journal. I couldn't let it sit out. It felt like poison. That night, I called David. He answered on the first ring. "Why didn't you tell me?" I asked. "No hello. No small talk." "I wanted to," he said quietly. "I begged him to tell you. Years ago. But he swore me to silence. He said he'd handle it eventually." 20 years, David. I know. Then he said something that chilled me. He almost left once. I sat down. What? He almost left you. Right after Emily was born. He packed a bag. We were supposed to meet up, talk about it. But when he got there, he was crying. Said he couldn't do it. Said he looked at Jessica sleeping and couldn't walk away. So he made his choice. But he stayed in touch with Rachel. Sent money. Spent time when he could. I was speechless. I couldn't breathe. So what was I? The backup plan? No. You were his anchor. That's what he said. His words, not mine. That didn't comfort me. Not even a little. 2 days later, Jessica did something I didn't expect. She called Emily. I found out because I overheard the conversation through her bedroom door. Yeah. I just wanted to ask some things. Can we meet? I didn't stop her. I probably should have. But I was too tired. Jessica looked at me, her eyes rimmed red. She called him a coward. I didn't respond. I couldn't. Because part of me agreed. I tried to push it all down. Pretend things would calm down. But then, the biggest twist yet happened. Rachel showed up at my door. She looked exactly like I expected, composed, pretty, mid-40s. She had that worn-down look of someone who'd carried too many secrets for too long. I know I shouldn't be here, she said, her voice soft. But I need to talk to you. There's something you don't know. I didn't say anything. I just stared at her. Then she said, Mark left something for you. For both of you. In case he died. He asked me to hold on to it. I didn't expect to need it so soon. She handed me a sealed manila envelope with my name on it. Jessica's too. Inside was a letter. His handwriting. His final confession. But I haven't read it yet. I don't know if I'm ready. I don't know if I even want to know what else he hid. And there's one more thing Rachel said before she left that I can't stop thinking about. She looked me straight in the eyes and said, "You weren't the only one betrayed." Now I'm sitting here with this envelope in my hand. My daughter waiting. Emily in the background. Rachel holding secrets. And my dead husband? Still shattering our lives from the grave. I don't know what I'll find in that letter. But I think it's going to break me all over again. I didn't open the letter that night. I couldn't. I put it in the kitchen drawer under the takeout menus. Every time I walked past, it felt like it buzzed. Like it was alive. Like Mark was still here, whispering behind my back, even in death. Jessica asked about it 3 times in 2 days. I kept saying, not yet. On the 3rd day, she didn't ask. She just stared at me across the table, and I could see it in her face. The distance was growing. She was slipping away from me, not because of me, but because of everything I couldn't explain. Everything Mark left behind like broken glass in every room of our lives. That same afternoon, I got a call. It was from the lawyer. Mark's lawyer. He asked me to come in to finalize a few things about the estate. Nothing unusual. I figured it was paperwork. But when I got there, he handed me a different envelope. This one was official. Stamped. Mark's signature on the flap. And it wasn't just for me. It was for Jessica. And Emily. I stared at the name. He had legally acknowledged her. Not just in letters or birthdays or guilt-driven visits. He had filed paperwork to name Emily as a partial beneficiary. Jessica had no idea. I didn't tell her that night. I needed time to figure out how to say it without it sounding like a betrayal. But it was a betrayal, just not by me. Later that night, when Jessica was in bed, I opened the first envelope, the one Rachel gave me. Mark's handwriting was neat. Too neat. Almost like he knew someone would be reading it while trembling. The letter started gentle. If you're reading this, I'm sorry. I never wanted to hurt you. I loved you with all I had. But I had more love than I could contain. More love? That line made my stomach turn. He went on to say he never planned to have another family. That Rachel was a mistake, but also not. That Emily was a surprise, but also not. He said he couldn't leave Jessica, so he stayed. But that his guilt ate at him every single day. That's why he wrote in the journal. That's why he left me that letter. He wanted me to know, because he didn't have the courage to say it while he was alive. Then the last page. He wrote something I never expected. I think you should meet him. Him? Who? There was a second child. I dropped the letter. I read it again. Over and over. I think you should meet him. He doesn't know about me. Rachel doesn't know I found out. It was before Rachel. A long time ago. A trip to New Orleans, before we were married. I only found out 5 years ago when I took a DNA test to check my cholesterol markers. A man named Luke matched. He's 27 now. Lives in Denver. I almost laughed. That crazy, dry laugh you let out when everything is so far beyond reason it just cracks. Mark had 3 children. 2 I didn't know about. And he'd taken that secret to the grave. Jessica found me crying on the floor of the kitchen. She picked up the letter, read it, and then whispered, "He had a son too?" I nodded. And then, for the first time since the funeral, she looked at me with full-blown rage. "We were just a cover." "No, yes, we were, Mom." She walked out of the room. Didn't slam the door. Just left, quiet. Like Mark taught her to handle conflict. The irony crushed me. That weekend, I went to see Rachel. She lived in a modest apartment on the north side. When she opened the door, she looked surprised. Nervous. But she let me in. I didn't waste time. "Did you know about the other one?" Her eyes narrowed. "What are you talking about?" I handed her the last page of the letter. She read it. She sat down. "No," she said. "He never told me this. He always said Emily was his only other child." "He lied to both of us," I said. "All of us." Then Rachel did something strange. She walked to a drawer, pulled out a binder, and handed it to me. It was full of copies of checks. Not from Mark. From someone else. There were dates, names, and memos that said things like for school, birthday, Emily's camp. She looked at me and said, "These aren't from Mark's account." "What are you saying?" "I think someone else was helping him pay for Emily. Someone who knew. Someone close." I stared at the memo lines. One said, "From D as promised." D. David? Could it be? Had David, Mark's best friend, been helping support Emily too? Now I had more questions than answers. Why was David involved? What did he know about Luke? Why had Mark only left that name in a letter, and not even told Rachel? I went home, sat in the dark, and thought of every moment I'd ever seen Mark and David alone together. Every whispered conversation. Every time I walked in and the subject changed. I needed to talk to him again. But this time I wasn't asking nicely. Because now this wasn't just about betrayal. This was something bigger. Something I was only starting to uncover. And I had the feeling the worst part hadn't even hit yet. I called David that same night. Told him I needed to see him. No more texts. No more half answers. I told him to come over. He showed up with that same guilty face I'd seen at the funeral. Pale, sweating a little. He knew. I didn't bother with small talk. "Why were you paying for Emily?" "Because I slept with Rachel, too." The room went silent. I didn't even blink. "What?" He swallowed hard. "Only once. After Mark found out about Emily. He was spiraling. He disappeared for a week. Rachel called me in a panic. I checked on her. She was a wreck. It just happened. You slept with the woman your best friend cheated on me with, while he was cheating with her, and then helped raise the child that might not even be his? I had no idea if Emily was mine, he said. But Mark believed she was. And I never told him about what happened with Rachel. Neither of us did. That was the moment Jessica walked in. She had been listening from the hallway. She didn't say a word. Just stood there, arms folded, jaw tight. So, to be clear, she said. Dad cheated on Mom. Had a daughter. Then you slept with that woman. Might be her dad. And you all decided the best thing to do was to let me live my life like none of this ever happened? David couldn't look at her. Jessica stepped forward, her voice rising. Do I even have a family? Or am I just the one who got stuck with the leftovers? Jess, I started. No, Mom. Don't defend any of them. She turned to David. You were like an uncle to me. You were at my birthday parties. You taught me to drive. And you sat at my dad's funeral with that dirty secret in your pocket? I'm sorry, he whispered. Don't say that, she snapped. You don't even know what you're sorry for. She stormed out. Not just out of the room, but out of the house. I ran after her, but she was already pulling out of the driveway. I stood in the cold, shaking, the night air heavy with the weight of everything that had been said. Inside, David sat with his head in his hands. She hates me, he mumbled. She might hate all of us, I said. Jessica stayed with a friend for a few days. Wouldn't answer my calls. Wouldn't reply to Emily either. I messaged Rachel. Told her the truth, about David. About the possibility that Emily might not be Mark's daughter at all. She didn't respond. But 3 days later, she sent me a screenshot of a paternity test request. That was how fast things unraveled. I didn't tell Jessica. Not yet. I had one more thing to do. I flew to Denver. To see Luke. I didn't go as some crazy stranger banging on the door. I messaged him first. Told him the truth. Or the parts one had the courage to say. He agreed to meet. We sat in a quiet coffee shop just outside the city. I told him who I was. Who Mark was. He had no idea. Not a clue. He looked like Mark. Same jawline, same nervous twitch in his eye when he was thinking hard. He said he was raised by a single mom, told his dad left before he was born. I gave him the letter. Told him to read it on his own time. He asked if I hated Mark. I thought about it. I don't know, I said. Some days I feel like he died twice. Once when his heart stopped. And once when I found out who he really was. Luke nodded, quiet. Do you hate him? I asked. He sipped his coffee, thinking. No. But I don't owe him anything. Fair enough. A few weeks passed. The paternity test came back. Emily wasn't Mark's daughter. She was David's. Rachel sent me a single message, he didn't know. I didn't either. I'm sorry. David didn't say a word. Jessica came home eventually. Quiet. Exhausted. She wasn't the same girl who left the house. She sat me down and said, I'm not ready to forgive anyone. Maybe not ever. But I'm still your daughter. And you didn't do this. I cried harder than I did the day Mark died. Emily and Jessica met again. Not as sisters. Not exactly. But maybe something else. They were both victims. Both hurt. Both angry. Both cheated out of the truth. Rachel moved to Michigan to be closer to family. David tried to apologize again. I told him not to. Told him to let time do what words couldn't. Luke and I still text. Not often. But he said he might visit Chicago someday. I told him I'd leave the porch light on. Mark left a crater in my life. Not just from his death, but from the weight of his secrets. I thought grief would be the hardest part. It wasn't. It was knowing the man I loved was a stranger hiding behind kind eyes. Sometimes I miss him. Then I remember what he did. And I don't know what I miss anymore, him, or the version of him I made up in my head. I learned that love can be real even if the person isn't. I learned that betrayal comes in layers. I learned that the truth is never gentle. But most of all, I learned that healing doesn't come with answers. It comes with acceptance. And maybe one day, I'll find peace in that. But today? I'm still learning.